Welcome to Kentucky Public Pensions Authority Retirement Payment Options webinar. During today's webinar, we will discuss some things you should consider when choosing your payment option at retirement. We will review beneficiary designation and define each retirement payment option, as well as explain a few payment options such as the 10-year certain and the Social Security adjustment options that our membership is less familiar with. We will be covering a lot of information today, but hope you find the information valuable and helps you make a more informed decision on your retirement payment options. There are several things you should consider before selecting your retirement payment option. It's important to carefully review all of your options and understand how each of them work. Who you name as the beneficiary of your account will determine which payment options are available to you. Also, keep in mind for most payment options, the member or the beneficiary must be receiving a monthly retirement allowance to participate in KPPA's medical insurance program. If you haven't already, I encourage you to log into Member Self-Service to determine the payment options available to you based on the beneficiary designation and their correlating factors which help to project life expectancy. Member Self-Service, or MSS, allows the member to assume various contingencies. Editing your beneficiary in MSS does not officially change your beneficiary designation. A Form 2035 Beneficiary Designation Form is required to update your beneficiary information while employed, and a Form 6000 Notification of Retirement is required to designate your beneficiary for your retirement benefits. It's important to consider who you will name as the beneficiary of your retirement account and to understand how the designation of each individual can affect your retirement differently. As I mentioned in the previous slide, while you are an employee participating within any of the systems operated by KPPA, it is imperative that you have a valid Form 2035 beneficiary designation on file with KPPA. This form is to be completed, signed, witnessed, and returned to KPPA, not your employer. If we do not have a valid Form 2035 on file, your beneficiary designation will be defaulted to the estate. This can be changed at any time up until you are retired by completing a new Form 2035, which can be found on the KPPA website at kyret.ky.gov. At the retirement, you may only name one person, your estate, or a trust as the beneficiary of your monthly retirement allowance. Up until you retire, you may name as many principal and contingent beneficiaries as you wish, but once you retire, you must select one principal beneficiary and understand the contingent beneficiary is defaulted to your estate. If you have multiple beneficiaries listed, log into your self-service account to test how naming individuals will affect your benefit. If the beneficiary dies or you divorce, state law requires that the member's beneficiary will be defaulted to the estate. Also keep in mind that an estate or trust is not eligible for a lifetime payment upon the death of the member. A retiree may have the option to change their payment option and/or beneficiary under limited circumstances. Otherwise, no changes can be made to the payment option or the designated beneficiary on or after the first day of the month the first retirement check is issued. We will talk about the limited circumstances which a member can change their beneficiary in the following slide. It's important to note a member's spouse is not required to be the benefit of a member's retirement account. Also, death or divorce nullifies a beneficiary, defaulting the beneficiary designation to the member's estate. I warn you of this since there have been instances where a member named a non-relative as the beneficiary of their account. Naming a friend or even a fiancé as a beneficiary of your retirement account may become an issue years later, as there are a few situations which allow the member to change their beneficiary of their account. Unfortunately, it's not uncommon to see a member name their fiancé as the beneficiary, but the marriage never happens. So be mindful when making decisions such as this. Remember earlier how I said you may have the option to change your payment option and or beneficiary under limited circumstances? Let's take a closer look at those options. House Bill 87 was the housekeeping bill passed in the 2020 legislative session. Among other things, the bill amended KRS 61.542 and 61.590. This change allows a retired member receiving a monthly retirement allowance and selected the basic or annuity, life with 10, 15, or 20 years certain, or the Social Security adjustment option without survivor rights to change their account beneficiary at any time. Retired members should log into their member self-service account to initiate the process to change their beneficiary by completing the Form 6036 Beneficiary Designation Change. Making this beneficiary change does not change the payment option selected at retirement. The amendment also provides that any member who marries or remarries on or after June 29, 2021 may provide a monthly survivorship to his or her new spouse by designating the new spouse as beneficiary within 120 days of the qualifying event. A Form 6035 beneficiary and payment option change must be filed by logging into member self-service, and the form must be accompanied by the spouse's date of birth verification and a copy of the marriage certificate uploaded to the account to this change. Any new survivorship payment options shall be actuarially equivalent to the monthly payment option the member was receiving prior to the change and shall not impact any other benefits otherwise payable to an alternate payee under a valid qualified domestic relations order already on file at the retirement office. I'm sure some of you have already calculated your retirement estimates online, had them prepared and mailed by a retirement counselor, or has met with a counselor in office. Today, we'll discuss each retirement payment option, but the beneficiary you name will determine which options are available to you. To further explain, let's assume you're unsure if you will name your spouse or your new grandchild as the beneficiary of your account. The life expectancy of your new grandchild is longer than that of your spouse, so you'll notice that there are some payment options available to you by choosing your spouse that are not available by choosing the grandchild. It's also important to keep this in mind when making decisions concerning your beneficiary. The basic option, referred to as the annuity option for Tier 3 members, provides the largest monthly benefit to the member until death. It does not provide any benefits to the beneficiary after the member passes away. If the member dies before receiving an amount equal to his or her account balance, the beneficiary will receive the remaining account balance in a lump sum payment. In this example, the member would receive $1,452.33 in gross income per month, and upon their death, the beneficiary would not receive a benefit. Life with 10, life with 15, and life with 20 years certain are all structured the same. It's a lifetime payment to the member. However, if the member were to expire within the first 10, the first 15, or the first 20 years of their retirement, depending upon the option they chose, KPPA will continue to pay the beneficiary for the remainder of the specified period of time. So, for example, if the member chose life with 10 years certain and lived 3 years beyond their retirement date, the beneficiary will be entitled to the remaining 7 years in payments. At the end of the 10-year period, the payment to the beneficiary would cease. Survivorship 100%, 66 2/3, 50%, and the pop-up option are all lifetime payments to both the member and the beneficiary. Survivorship 100% option works so that if the member predeceases the beneficiary is eligible for the same monthly benefit up until their death. So in this example, the member would receive $1,321.32 per month, and upon his or her passing, the beneficiary would receive 100% of that for the remainder of their lifetime. Survivorship 66 2/3% works so that if the member predeceases the beneficiary is eligible for a monthly benefit equal to 66 2/3 of the retiree's last monthly benefit up until the beneficiary's death. You'll notice in the example that the member's benefit increases when compared to the previously mentioned survivorship 100%. That's because we've reduced the benefit for the beneficiary. So the member receives $1,362.28 because the beneficiary's is decreased to $908.23 for their lifetime. Survivorship 50% works that if the member predeceases the beneficiary is eligible for a monthly benefit equal to 50% of the member's last monthly benefit up until death. Again, in this example, you'll see the member's benefit has increased when compared to the two other survivorship options because the beneficiary's benefit decreased to 50% of the member's, or in this example, $691.87 per month. The pop-up option works so that if the member predeceases the beneficiary is eligible for the same monthly benefit up until their death. However, if the beneficiary predeceases the member or the beneficiary is the member's spouse and they divorce after retirement, the monthly benefit pops up or increases to the amount under the basic or annuity option. So if we look at the example, the member would draw $1,310.14 under the pop-up option. If the member passes away, the beneficiary draws 100% of that benefit. But if the beneficiary predeceases the member or if they divorce, the member pops up to the basic or the annuity option in the amount of $1,452.33 per month. The survivorship 100%, 66 2/3, 50%, and the pop-up options provide a monthly benefit after the member's death and will allow the beneficiary to participate in the medical insurance program. The actuarial refund provides a one-time lump sum payment to the member that is the actuarial equivalent of the amount the member would have received had the benefits been paid over 60 months. It's important to be especially careful when considering this payment option. By selecting this option, the member forfeits all other benefits, including health insurance and the $5,000 death benefit. Because this is a lump sum payment, all contributions and leave balances must be certified by the employer before payment can be made. It's important to note that if the member is Tier 1 or Tier 2, the refund amount will be the total of the contributions and interest if that amount is higher than that of the actuarial lump sum. Tier 3 members are also not eligible for the actuarial lump sum, only the total of contributions and associated interest. Members that plan to take an actuarial lump sum refund will need to complete a Form 6025 or the Direct Rollover Direct Payment Election form. The partial lump sum option, with and without survivor rights, provides a one-time payment equal to 12, 24, 36, 48, or 60 times the monthly benefit under the basic or annuity or survivorship 100% payment option, plus provides a monthly payment to the retired member until death. The monthly payment is actuarially reduced to reflect the one-time lump sum payment amount. The one-time lump sum payment is an eligible rollover distribution subject to special federal tax rules. If you choose to have the one-time lump sum paid directly to you, KPPA automatically withholds 20%. Your payment will not be taxed by KPPA if you elect a direct rollover. On your screen, you will see an example of the PLSO option without survivorship. It is calculated using the basic monthly payment amount. There are no continuing benefits for a beneficiary once the retiree passes away. In our example, the member is retiring at age 57 with 27 years of service, and the calculated basic payment amount is $2,000. First, we'll multiply the basic payment amount by 12, 24, 36, 48, and 60. This will give us 5 different PLSO payment amounts. As you can see, the 5 different partial lump sum payments are $24,000, $48,000, $72,000, $96,000, and $120,000. As I mentioned earlier, the monthly payment is reduced by an actuarial age factor. The $2,000 basic monthly payment will be reduced by a factor based on the member's age of 57, as well as the partial lump sum amount. As the partial lump sum increases, the monthly payment is reduced. So, as each of the 5 PLSO payment options increase, the monthly lifetime payment decreases. As you can see on your screen, if the member chose the partial lump sum without survivorship 12-month option, they would receive $24,000 in a one-time lump sum payment, and their monthly payment is decreased to $1,862.99. If they chose the 24-month partial lump sum option without survivorship, they would receive a $48,000 one-time lump sum payment, and the monthly payment amount would be reduced to $1,725.97. The same goes for the 36-month, the 48-month, and 60-month options. For the 36-month option, they would receive a one-time lump sum payment of $72,000, and the monthly payment amount would be $1,588.96. For the 48-month partial lump sum option, they would receive a one-time lump sum payment of $96,000, and their monthly benefit would be $1,451.94. And lastly, if the member chose the partial lump sum without survivorship 60-month option, they would receive a one-time lump sum payment of $120,000, and their monthly benefit would be $1,314.93. The PLSO with survivorship option works in the same way as the PLSO without survivorship, but it does offer a monthly payment to a beneficiary if the member predeceases them. The lump sum payment is based on the survivorship 100% option instead of the basic payment option. To be eligible for this option, the member must be eligible to receive the 100% survivorship option. Using the same member as we did previously, this member will be retiring at age 57 with 27 years of service, and we are assuming that the beneficiary is age 55. The survivorship 100% option is calculated at $1,795.21. This is then multiplied by 12, 24, 36, 48, or 60 to determine each of the lump sum payment amounts. In this example, if the member chose the 12-month PLSO with survivorship option, they would receive a one-time lump sum payment in the amount of $21,542.52. If the member selected the 24-month PLSO with survivorship option, they would receive a one-time lump sum payment in the amount of $43,085.04. By choosing the 36-month PLSO with survivorship, the member would receive a one-time lump sum payment in the amount of $64,627.56. For the 48-month PLSO with survivorship, the member would receive a one-time lump sum payment in the amount of $86,170.08. And lastly, if they chose the 60-month PLSO with survivorship option, the member would receive a one-time lump sum payment in the amount of $107,712.60. As with the PLSO without survivorship, the monthly payment is reduced by an age factor. The $1,795.21 monthly payment will be reduced by a factor based on the member's age of 57, as well as the partial lump sum amount. As the partial lump sum increases, the monthly payment is reduced. So as each of the 5 PLSO payment options increase, the monthly lifetime payment decreases. As you see on your screen, if the member chose the 12-month PLSO with survivorship, they would receive a one-time lump sum payment in the amount of $21,540.52, and their monthly benefit is decreased to $1,684.82. If the member chose the 24-month PLSO with survivorship option, they will receive a one-time payment in the amount of $43,085.04, and the monthly payment amount would be $1,574.43. If the member chose the 36-month PLSO with survivorship option, they receive a one-time lump sum payment amount of $64,627.56, and the monthly payment amount would be $1,464.03. If they chose the 48-month PLSO with survivorship option, the one-time lump sum payment would be $86,170.08, and the monthly payment would be $1,353.64. And lastly, if the member chose the 60-month PLSO with survivorship option, they would receive a one-time lump sum payment in the amount of $107,712.60, and the monthly payment would be $1,243.25. If you wish to review your own payment options, including the PLSO option, you can log into your member self-service account at myretirement.ky.gov and click on the Benefit Estimates module. Part of the statutory requirement of the partial lump sum requires KPPA to show members a partial lump sum comparison worksheet. It compares the basic to the PLSO without survivorship and the PLSO with survivorship to the 100% survivorship option. The worksheet will show how much longer the member would have to work at the same rate of pay to have the various PLSO monthly payment options equal the original basic or survivorship 100% payment option. The 10-year certain option is only available to members within the state police retirement system or those members in Kentucky Employees Retirement System or County Employees Retirement System in hazardous positions. This option provides a higher monthly payment guaranteed for 120 months or 10 years to the member, or if the member dies, to the beneficiary for the remainder of those 10 years. Because this option pays a higher monthly amount, it only pays within the first 10 years of retirement. After the 10-year period, the member retains their health insurance, but all other benefits cease, and neither the member nor the beneficiary will receive further payments. In addition, after the end of the 10 years, there will be no $5,000 death benefit payment at the time of the member's death. Be especially careful when considering this payment option. There will be no income after 10 years, and you could also be subject to an additional tax penalty. Let's take a minute to discuss the Social Security adjustment options. These are options available to a select group of members. In order to choose one of the Social Security adjustment options, you must be under the age of 62 at your anticipated retirement date. Now let's read through the definition of how the Social Security adjustment option works, and then we'll discuss some details of how to see this option and how to look at an example. The Social Security adjustment options allow you to receive a higher monthly payment from your retirement date up until your 62nd birthday, at which time your payment will drop based on your age 62 Social Security payment. So some of us attending the webinar today may have not ever heard of the Social Security adjustment option. Whether you are calculating your own retirement online or you have spoken with a counselor about your retirement, in order to generate these additional options, you must provide KPPA with a Social Security statement. We will discuss the required documentation by KPPA in the following slides. Now, let me be perfectly clear before we go any further. Other than KPPA requiring a Social Security statement, taking this option in no way involves Social Security. In fact, these options are paid by KPPA just like any other option we have discussed thus far. Also, this does not mean you are taking your Social Security early. What this does mean is that KPPA will adjust your options based on your Social Security statement, hence the name Social Security Adjustment Option. By you providing KPPA with your Social Security statement, KPPA will use your early Social Security benefit at age 62 to generate one, possibly two Social Security options. These options allow the member to draw a higher monthly benefit up until they turn 62, and then the month following their 62nd date, KPPA automatically reduces the member's monthly retirement allowance, as now the member is eligible to draw their early Social Security benefits from Social Security, therefore supplementing the reduction in their benefits with KPPA. As I mentioned before, the member will be required to provide KPPA with a Social Security statement at the time of retirement to generate these options on the final retirement paperwork. It is important when obtaining the statement that you tailor it to your specific needs. By going to My Social Security or ssa.gov/my account, you can generate a Social Security statement that assumes a specific termination date and prevents your Social Security statement from being inflated. Unless otherwise calculated, these statements generally assume that the member works up until age 62. If you are retiring at age 55, then that statement is obviously assuming incorrect information, and you could project to draw a higher monthly benefit amount than you will actually receive. To generate a statement that is more accurate, you will need to assume no future earnings or $0 on the Social Security estimator. For guidance to properly use the calculator, you will need to contact your local Social Security office. You may also log into your KPPA member's self-service account to project these additional payment options by entering the Social Security amount for age 62, which was calculated at My Social Security. If you plan to take one of these options, it's most efficient to provide KPPA with the Social Security statement prior to or either Form 6000, the notification of retirement. Whether providing KPPA with a Social Security statement, date of birth verification, or filing for your retirement benefits, all of this can be done in member self-service at myretirement.ky.gov. In this example, the member's age 62 Social Security benefit is $1,000. When we key that into our system, it generates two payment options, assuming this member did not name their estate or trust as the beneficiary: the Social Security adjustment option with survivor rights and without survivor rights. When we look at how these options are defined, we compare the Social Security adjustment option without survivor rights to the basic or annuity option, and the Social Security adjustment option with survivor rights to the survivorship 100% option. Had the member chosen the basic or annuity option, the member would draw $1,452.33 per month. If the member chooses to take the Social Security adjustment option without survivor rights, he or she will draw a higher monthly benefit from KPPA in the amount of $2,145.71. The member will draw this higher monthly benefit amount up until their 62nd birthday. The month following the member's 62nd birthday, his or her benefits will be reduced to $1,145.71 for the remainder of their lifetime. Remember, since the member is age 62, they can now draw their 62 Social Security benefit from Social Security. So now they can draw $1,145.71 from KPPA plus the $1,000 from Social Security, which puts their monthly benefit income back to $2,145.71. Let's look at the Social Security adjustment option with survivor rights. If the member chooses the survivorship 100% option, he or she would draw $1,321.32 per month, leaving 100% of that to their beneficiary if they predecease them. If they choose the Social Security adjustment option with survivor rights, they draw a higher monthly benefit in the amount of $2,040.24 per month. The member will draw this higher monthly benefit amount each month up until their 62nd birthday. The month following their 62nd birthday, their KPPA benefits are reduced to $1,040.24 per month for the remainder of their lifetime. As just in the other example, they are now eligible to draw their age 62 Social Security benefit from Social Security in the amount of $1,000. So when you add the $1,040.24 from KPP to the $1,000 from Social Security, their monthly income is back to $2,040.24. This option guarantees the same benefit to the beneficiary if the member dies. If the member dies before age 62, the beneficiary draws the higher monthly benefit until the member would have attained age 62. Thereafter, the beneficiary will receive the same reduced monthly benefits that the member would have been entitled to. So why is this a good idea or a bad idea? In my counseling experience, I've seen it on both sides. I had a gentleman in office that was terminally ill, and he was years from reaching his 62nd birthday, and the doctors had told him to see it. So it made sense for him to take a payment that would pay him a higher monthly benefit while he was living. On the other hand, I see members provide us with Social Security statements that were grossly overinflated. We reduce the payment based on the information provided at retirement, regardless of the amount you actually draw from Social Security. This member saw a significant reduction in their KPPA benefits, only to find out that the statement they provided was exaggerated and they saw a substantial decrease in their income. If you're interested in this option, the first thing I suggest is to obtain a statement from Social Security to accurately represent your situation. Once you've seen this piece of information, log into Member Self-Service and key the age 62 Social Security benefit amount from Social Security statement to generate the Social Security options. If you're still interested in these options, provide a copy of the statement to KPPA and we'll use these information to provide you with the estimates to include the Social Security adjustment options. We hope you found today's webinar helpful. Retirement is one of the most individualized things you will ever do. Log into Member Self-Service, test your variables, visit our website, do the research, attend the presentations, and mostly ask questions. We are here to help. This concludes our Retirement Payment Options webinar. This presentation is intended for general information purposes only. But if you have specific questions regarding your account, we encourage you to speak with a retirement counselor at 1-800-928-4646. On behalf of myself and the other KPPA staff, we thank you for attending today's presentation, and have a wonderful day.